The first block of text I'm going to create is down here in the bottom right hand corner. To do that, I'm going to use my rectangle tool and I'm going to create a shape and then convert that shape to a text frame. So I've just drawn a rectangle. Control Q on my keyboard converts that to curves. Select the shape tool. I'm just going to select that top left hand node, finger on Control and drag to the right. Finger on Control helps me to pull that across horizontally in a straight line. Finger on the space bar to go back to my pick tool. Now to convert this to a text frame, all I have to do is right click on the object, come up to Frame Type and choose Create Empty Text Frame. Next I'm going to put placeholder text inside. So right click and up to Insert Placeholder Text. That's a great new addition in X6. Gives me the ability to decide upon typeface, size, color, etc., even though I might not know what text I want to place inside. I'm now going to open some Dockers and a toolbar. So first of all, I'm going to come to Window, Dockers, and open the Object Properties Docker. Then I want to come back to Window, Dockers, and open the Connect Tray. I'll minimize the tray down because we're going to use that shortly. And then finally up to Layout and the Layout toolbar. To start out, I want to remove the outline of the text frame object. So under Color, simply click No Outline. Then what I can do is collapse the outline, collapse the fill, and that reveals more of the character area, or alternatively, simply click Character, and that brings that block to the top of the Docker. Well, I want to select the typeface Frutiger. I want to go with a point size of 13, a uniform fill of white, and I want to right justify. So to right justify, I'm going to click Paragraph, and that brings up all of the other options, and I'll click Align to the right. I'm going to go ahead now and with my rectangle tool add some rectangles around the design, which ultimately I'll convert to text frames, but I'm just doing this to get an overall feel for where I might place things and what it will look like. We'll also have one going across the bottom with some information. Spacebar, I'll just move that up a little bit to make some more room. I'll select those and the one at the bottom, and L on my keyboard aligns to the left, and I'll align the rest later on. First of all, let's convert each of these to a text frame, and using the Layout toolbar does make that quite a quick operation. And then what I want to do is I'll zoom in on these two text frames here because I want to link them together. So you select one frame, finger on Shift, select the other, and up to Text, Paragraph Text, and simply choose Link. Now when I right click and choose Insert Placeholder Text, it flows from one text frame to the other. It's a great way of flowing text page to page or from column to column. To remove the black outline around the rectangles, I'm going to right click on the No Color Well. Z on my keyboard for the zoom tool. I'm just going to zoom in nice and tightly to these text frames. And then tap the space bar to go back to the pick tool, deselect, up to View, Grid, and we're going to turn on the baseline grid. The baseline grid gives us the ability to align all of our text on the page, whether it be a multi-page or a single-page document, and it simply looks better when it's aligned. We can adjust this grid. Double-click on the rulers, come down to Grid, and here is the baseline grid area. We can adjust the spacing, where it starts from the top, and turn on Snap to Grid, etc. There's another way we can turn on Snap to Grid, and that's to come to the Snap to menu. And here I'm going to turn on Snap to the baseline grid. To align the text frames, hold your finger on Shift and select each individual text frame. Then right click and choose Align to Baseline Grid. And you can see how much better it looks just perfectly aligning across these lines here. The reason I turned on Snap to is so that I can select each text frame and move it, and it just easily snaps and aligns, as you can see. Now I want you also to notice that there is a red text frame around the outside of this block of text. That indicates that there's more text available, but the text frame is not large enough to display all the text. If I select, you can see this little square with an arrow indicating make the text frame larger. Well, I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is click in here, this is placeholder text, and simply delete some text. and no longer is the text frame red. What I also want you to see is we can come up to text, come down to paragraph text frame and turn off show text frames. When I deselect, we no longer have a text frame. When we select to edit, we can see the shape of that text frame. And any text frames that are linked together will always show when you select one, they will both highlight at the same time. Alright, F4 on my keyboard. Let's go up to View and turn off the display of the baseline grid. Before we move on, I want to do some aligning. With the introduction of the new alignment guides, we now have many methods to use, so I'm going to demonstrate a number of them for you, including alignment guides. Well, first of all, I'm going to select this rectangle. Then P on my keyboard aligns that perfectly center horizontal and vertical to my page. By holding my finger on Control and dragging that down, it stays horizontally center. If I select an object, finger on Shift and select another object, the last object selected is the one that we align to. So tap R on my keyboard for right align. Again, select, finger on Shift select, and the last object that I want to align to, and then L on my keyboard to left align. So these are all perfectly aligned now. Well, in the next phase, we'll use alignment guides. So let's zoom into the top area of our design here, over to Object Manager, and up to date we've been working on body text. Well, now we want to add some title text. So I'm going to select the title text layer. Back to Object Properties, and I'm going to select my text tool. First off, I'm going to type the word art, A-R-T. Then I'm going to just click here and paste some text that I've already copied to the clipboard. Control V on my keyboard. Automatically, whenever you import or paste something containing text, you're asked, do you want to maintain the fonts and formatting? In other words, do you want it to look how it looked in the document? Only maintain formatting, or do you want to discard both? Well, I want to discard both and apply my own, so I'll click OK. Control, then spacebar, takes me back to my pick tool. And here's a great tip. Anytime you have some text outside of a text frame, you can right-click and drag that text inside of a text frame. Release your mouse and choose Move or Copy. I'm going to choose Move. I'll select the text frame. I'm going to right Justify, come back over to Character, and we'll make a few changes. I'll increase the point size, and it's great the way how it goes up in real time. We'll go with, say, around 33 point, and I want to change the font. I'm going to go with Frutiger Serif, but you'll notice as I hover over different fonts, automatically you can see a preview in real time. But we'll go with Frutiger Serif, and I'll just stretch that out a little. Now I'm going to come over to Paragraph, and we're going to make a few changes. I'm going to change the line spacing. And as you watch, you can see it change and alter in real time. It's really quite valuable. Well, I'm going to lower it down just a little, around 78. In fact, I think I'll go 77. And I'm going to change the character spacing. And again, this occurs in real time. I think we'll go up to a sizable character spacing, around 30-33, but I'll need to stretch this out just a little bit more to accommodate. And there we go, that looks really great. Of course, here in X6, we now have the capability to work with open type features, and I want to demonstrate that. If I double click, I can select one or two characters at a time or an entire line. And this little arrow here gives us access to preview the available open type features. As I hover, you can see it change in real time, or in fact you can just see here what it looks like. What this is doing is allowing me to see what the possibilities are for the characters I have selected, what open type features can be applied. And right now I'm going to go with small caps. I like the capital and the smaller letters, and I like the squarer look versus the round look. So I'm going to select that option. I'm going to select the numbers underneath, and again we have this little interactive drop down, so click, and I have a number of options to choose from. Hover over all of these for a real-time preview, and in fact I'm going to go with proportional old style. I think that looks quite good. I'm going to come over to the right hand side and right click and remove the outline, and then we'll work on our word art here. You'll notice how as I move that around, the little word grid appears there. That's because earlier on, I'll deselect, up to snap to, we did turn on snap to baseline grid. I don't need that now, so I'm going to turn that off, and we'll select, come back over to character and increase the point size. And I'm looking for quite a large point size, so 200 plus, a couple of clicks, reposition that over there. And I'm going to change this typeface to the font Frutiger Nu. That looks quite nice. So we'll now make that white in colour. I'll pop that there. In fact, we'll make this white in colour as well. Character and white in colour. And now I want to align to my objects below, and by simply turning on alignment guides, I know that if I select, move to the right, I'm aligning to the text below with that line that appears there. Same here, I'll move and align the right side. You can see that alignment guide come up, and now I know I'm perfectly aligned. F4 on my keyboard, zoom out, and that's starting to look quite good.